Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever your current life situation is. Hello, YouTube. This is Jeffrey Kite back again with another episode of Kite's Curiosities. This is part 2 of the Pickett's Mill Battlefield and Historic Site. Video 1 that you saw previously in my previous video, that is a take on the historic site that you have there at Pickett's Mill Battlefield. And today, this video, I had to split it up into 2 parts because it was too long. I was having problems loading it up. So I wanted y'all to see the actual battlefield, where the battle took place, and to see the reenactment that I was able to go and watch on Saturday, this past Saturday, May 31st, 2025. Now, in this video, you will see me reference and hear me reference a date, May 24th, 1864. That is not the date of the battle. My apologies. I get my dates mixed up sometimes. Not a good look for a teacher, as I've said in the previous video, but, you know, it happens. It was May 27th, 1864 is when the 5-hour battle took place there on this very site, on this very ground that you're about to see, where 1,600 Union soldiers suffered casualties, injuries, death. Some are missing in action, never were really found. I don't know what happened to them. And about 500 to 550 Confederate soldiers met their fate that day on this ground that you're about to see. I think it's always important to document history, to keep history remembered. Remember the names, remember the faces, remember what happened, so that we don't repeat things in our future. We learn from the past. We learn, slavery is wrong. We learn, hey, states' rights is important. Let's follow the Constitution, but sometimes states have different ideas that are really good that will work for their people, their constituents, their region of the country that's not necessarily bad. We need to allow that to happen and have that freedom. We need to represent each other and have fair representation in government, whether it's by the 2 senators or by population, like in the House of Representatives. All of these things, it wasn't just slavery. I want to emphasize that. It wasn't just slavery. It was all of these things, all of these issues that were coming up to the forefront. Economic challenges. You know, just because one area of the country has more of the factories and the businesses and the production doesn't make you any better than the subsistence and big farmers down in another region who grow a lot of food and supply a lot of food to a lot of people around our country. Everybody is important, and everybody needs to be heard, and everybody needs to examine themselves and examine their practices and judge it according to, in my opinion, what's said in the Bible, what's said in just basic human rights and humanity, how you want to be treated. And so that's why I think this video is important. Going to these Civil War sites, documenting, telling the story, that's important, because we have to remember not to go back, but we need to keep looking forward. And that's what I hope to accomplish in this video. All right. The outro has already been filmed, so this is the last time you will see me in my Great Smoky Mountains shirt. And I actually combed my hair today and not wearing a hat. So, but before I move on, I do want to give a last shameless plug to the people and the person who made this trip possible. That's right, folks. So Journey Travel by Carla Parker Kite. That is my wife. She is a professional travel advisor and can be your personal travel advisor to anywhere in the world that you want to go. Whether it be on a cruise, all-inclusive resort, Disney World, whatever you want. Or if you just want to do a nice little staycation, like I am going to show you guys today in this video, something local. She can arrange it here in the state of Georgia or wherever. I'll just reach out and contact her at that telephone number, 770-356-4245, or just send an email at carla.parker-kite@sojourneytravel.com, or contact her via that website right there, www.sojourneytravel.com/Carla. Suitcases, sightseeing, so journey with us. Sojourney Travel. So as you're walking down the old Pickett's Mill Road, you'll see, or from the cabin, you'll see where the road forks off. There's another fork that goes around that way. That goes to the actual mill that I think was called Leverett's Mill back this way. But down in here's the trench where the Union soldiers positioned themselves. And right here in this area is where Captain Key of the Confederate Army stationed 2 howitzer cannons and fired down into that trench down in there and fired upon the Union forces down in there. It was very effective, as you could imagine, and this is what helped extend the Confederate line this way and extend the Confederate line this way. They had an army out here in this wheat field that I'm about to go to, and they were firing down into that trench as well. So the Union forces were just not outmanned, but were outpositioned and just could not get out.
Pick it up with some ropes and make a little tent out of it. This is home sweet home for the average Civil War soldier. Yep. It's raining. It's raining. That's what you got. On his person, he has several leather items. Most of those items pertain to the weapon system itself. And we'll get into those a little bit more as we go. And finally, last but certainly not least, over on his hip, he has his canteen, important for water. Obviously, they understood hydration was important. And his haversack, which is a tar-painted bag, where principally he keeps his rations. That was an efficiency thing. If the Army, every time we wanted to have a meal, if the Army stopped and we pulled out the chuck wagons and started a fire and got everybody fed, that would take forever, very inefficient. These armies wanted to move quickly, and so they would actually issue rations in bulk several days in advance. And each soldier would carry on his person the food he needed for a set period of time, just to keep things moving. I think that just about covers it. So, thank you.
So this is it. They've got a lot of the area closed off today because of the battle reenactment and things, and they just don't want people coming down here and getting hurt or anything. But this is the trench right through here. You can see it a little bit, and you can see the upslope here, right here. So this is it. This is where 1,600 Union soldiers were pinned down and lost their lives fighting for freedom, reunification of our nation, to end practices that were inhuman.
inhumane. Slavery is inhumane. But so is trying to just separate yourself from a union that you pledged an allegiance to, that you're going to stand together, but you want to separate because things aren't going your way. That's why we vote. That's why we have politicians. That's why we have, diplomats. People say, hey, let's think about this before we do anything drastic. Because sometimes you have to have these drastic measures. You have to have these drastic events to kind of shake people up, and wake people up, and realize, hey, what are we doing here? What are we doing? So to the brave men who gave their lives in this very area here, I say thank you. I appreciate you, and your memories won't be forgotten. Your stories will continue to be told. My history teachers, history professors, historians, readers, just people who love this country will remember you. Thank you for what you did. Thank you for your service. God bless. So the reenactment is about to happen. It's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm coming up one of the trails. I followed some of the trails that I could follow and showed y'all those pictures of the ravine, which is down on my right. Again, right there is where the battle took place. The reenactment is going to take place in the big wheat field that I just showed y'all a few minutes ago. There was some fighting in the wheat field. That was where the Confederates were protecting the Key Fort that I told you about, where Captain Key set up his 2 howitzer cannons that were firing down into this ravine. Another shot at it. Firing down into the ravine and battling the Union forces. So let's head on back up to the wheat field and get some action there. Just one last look at the ravine in the trench before we get to the wheat field.
I don't mind. Yeah. Or here, come right over here. You can stand right next to me and you'll see the whole thing if you'd like to.
I'll stand, I'll stand over here.
Come right on over.
I won't bite you.
My son is holding the colors. Holding the flag. For the Federals.
Yeah, okay, your son's. Mason!
from, boys? Ohio! Where are we from? Ohio! Come on, Johnny! We'll ship you an Ohio hero! Forward! March! Huzzah! Get down!
Wow, that was something else. To kind of see how that goes down and the reenactment, how they fall in, fall back, advance, fall back, and gain ground. That's how the Civil War was fought. And right now, I'm going to take a few moments and go through the Pickett's Mill Historic Site, the little museum that they have on site here, just outside of where you check in. It's in the building where you check in, but across the desk from where you pay and get your ticket. Let's peruse through and see what exhibits are in here. That's kind of what the Union soldiers saw. The Confederate was up on that top of that ravine. They were down in the valley looking up. It's gotta be some tough territory to have to fight in battle, where you can just kind of poke your head up, take your shot, and then hide behind them rocks. Almost defenseless, but as a Union soldier down in this bottom of this ravine, but not totally, but you just had no idea what was going on up here. That makes for some tough conditions. And here's some Civil War era artillery shells. Now earlier I mentioned a cabin near where the ravine was, where that was owned by the Rogers family, and that played a pivotal role in the Civil War, because that's where the sharpshooters had stationed themselves, up in the attic of that two-story cabin. But there was also another family that lived on this area, and it was called the Brand family. And the Brand family were just modest, simple, poor subsistence farmers that, just kind of had a plot of land out here in the Pickett's Mill area. And when the Civil War came right into their front yard and in their backyard, they fled. They had to get out. The battle here lasted only 5 hours, but the land was occupied for about a week or so. And they just left. and they left everything they had. This is an artist's rendition of that cabin that they probably lived in. And they did an archaeological dig here in 1977 and found the remnants of what the Brand family had. I don't know what kind of bone that is. This is probably an animal bone of some kind. Probably a horse, I would think. That's too big for a human.
All this stuff was gone, but they ended up miles away from the stuff, and the army trains would have done past it. So they
They were told to gather that. So it's a 50-50 chance you drop it, you might.
You look at a lot of the, it's kind of morbid when you get into like the study and the Civil War photos. But if you look at like a lot of the original tintypes and the photos, dead soldiers, you can kind of see a lot of their personal effects. There's a photo from the Battle of Antietam. Might actually be on that wall right there. Yeah, this wall right there.
Now here's a display of common weapons used during the Civil War. This is an example of maybe a kitchen utensil set that a soldier would carry in his field bag, along with some other personal effects and luxuries. So earlier you heard me talking about how at that fork in the road, that Keys Cross or Keys Point or Keys, that area where Captain Thomas Key set up those two cannons, and they were 12-pound howitzer cannons, and this, what you see before you, this is not a reproduction. This is actually one of those cannons that was used in the Battle of Pickett's Mill right out here, right outside these doors on May 24th, 1864.
That's right, trip. Ready? Front.
We're gathered here at this moment to honor those who fought and died here, both sides, and although they were all Americans, and for all Americans who have fought abroad in every war. And today we honor them with a special wreath and a salute, both gun and flag. And we remember the sacrifices that they made for us to be able to be Americans also. Let us honor and respect that. Present. Halt. Load.
And finally, before I end this video, I want to show y'all this. This is in the library of the museum. This is what's known as the Wall of Faces. Each picture you see is of a man who fought here on the Dallas line at Battle of Pickett's Mill. Each face has a story. Each name has a family. There were 550 Confederate soldiers who died in this battle. And this wall beautifully commemorates those who survived and those who gave their lives to it. So what you saw today was a reenactment. But this right here, this is reality. Let's stop and think about that for a moment. Well, folks, there you have it. What do y'all think? Did y'all enjoy this little journey? I sure did. I had such a good time out here. It's a peaceful place. It's a tranquil place. And I had my dates wrong. It was May 27th. 1864, not May 24th. Sorry, I was a little bit off on my history, but beautiful area, beautiful place, very tranquil, very peaceful, that for 5 hours in the summer of 1864 erupted into chaos, confusion, bloodshed, and death of so many of Americans. Let's not just call them Union and Confederate. Let's just call it what it was. It was Americans. Americans against Americans. Had to come to blows because people wanted to continue with slavery, which we all know that is not a good thing to not a good institution to have or mentality to have. We know that that's wrong. We had fighting over states' rights, being kind to one another, respecting other states' decisions within reason, which that battle still goes on today, especially in my world, in education, with all the educational laws and states wanting to do different things. But having that right to make that decision, we're going to do this instead of that. We're going to honor the federal government and its laws, but we want to have a different take and a different spin on some things. We want to do some different things in our state versus this other state over here. So all of that was so important. And the Civil War, it, in my opinion, brought us together as a nation. It really did. To get us to stop and pause and think, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're doing a lot of wrong. We're going about this thing the wrong way. How can we make it better? And I hate that it took a war to do that and so many lives lost. But I'm proud to be an American, and I'm proud of our history when we corrected things and we got on the right side of history. Not proud of everything we've done in our country, and as we go along this summer, you're going to see my opinion. I mean, we got an ugly history in our country. We really do. But we also have a good side of our history, and we need to preserve both the good and the bad. And hopefully that's what I did a little bit today. So tell me down in the comments what you think. What do y'all think of Pickett's Mill Battlefield State Park here in beautiful Dallas, Georgia, Paulding County, Georgia? Is this someplace you'd like to come? Reach out to my wife in that information. Shameless plug, I know, but reach out to her, plan you a little visit. Those of you who are out of town, she'll find hotels for you wherever you want to go, and y'all come and enjoy this beautiful place. As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Till next time, y'all take care now. Have a good one. Bye.